results in that gentleman right there. I think that all those stories are wonderful. Watching that story right there.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but
No.
I just that that speaks volumes to me. My mother has bone degeneration and stuff, and the muscles, unfortunately, have gotten quite weak. So this is something that definitely, there you go. I definitely want to learn a little bit more about this. Sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did and told me the impact. Now, when you start increasing nitric oxide growth hormone, your cardiovascular system gets younger. Your blood sugar starts to get regulated. This is a study out of Scandinavian Journal of Medicine that BFR is beneficial for people, pre-diabetic, diabetic, who may not be able to sustain. There it is. Doesn't say can't go for a walk. Doesn't say people can't do yoga. It says people who can't do high intensity exercise. So after this presentation, don't be fooled. You are not going to move the needle with walking and light exercise. It'll be therapeutic. It'll be fun. It might be social. You're not going to move the needle on adaptation in your body. You've got to do high intensity. Here's a study on 3 weeks of walking. Females in Japan walking, 35 times increase in bone-specific alkaline phosphatase. Now, you got to be saying, come on, Dr. Mike, how's that possible? Let's go back to what I said. Adaptation from physical exercise has nothing to do with weight, load, and time. Those are tools. Your body does not go, whoa, that's a lot of weight. I'm going to strengthen your bones. Your body responds to the change in the metabolic stasis of the muscle, or more important, lactic acid drop in pH. So you can lift heavy weights, produce lactic acid and strengthen bones, or you can do BFR with lightweight, produce lactic acid and strengthen bones. It's irrelevant which one you do. You just got to produce the lactic acid. So what you're starting to see is we're able to take people who can't do the required exercise and do it. Brain health. This is a big one. When you do BFR, it increases cerebral blood flow and releases brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I can't tell how many people we have who have seen improvements in cognitive function, memory, tremors, sleeping, brain function, focus. Now, we're not going to cure Parkinson's in all those conditions, but you talk about an improvement, huge improvement, and this is proven in science. There's an actual study on this. Who's using it? Rick Burkholder, Kansas City Chiefs, on his 2-time Super Bowl champions, on his world-famous quarterback, on his family. Look at these USA Olympic teams: ski and snowboard, swimming, volleyball, gymnastics. #1 pickleball player in the world. We probably got some pickleball players that are watching this. We have a way for you to simply put the bands on in the first 5 to 10 minutes of pickleball. Don't have to change your exercise. Don't have to lift weights. Don't have to start riding a bike. Just put them on. We even have a golf program. We'll show you how to take the bands with you out to the golf course, go out to the range, and in 10 minutes, stimulate nitric oxide growth hormone and endorphins, all while playing golf. Well, soon, everybody's going to be exercising the new way with B3 bands. And with that said, I want to stop the presentation now, and we'll go back to questions. I'm going to stop the sharing and pass it back to our awesome host so we can discuss a little bit further. Zach, back to you.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to talk to you about, you were just showing some of the different exercises. One of the things that I love to do when the exercises that I suffered after my motorcycle accident, one of the things that I really enjoyed doing is playing racquetball, because it helps me focus. I can watch the ball, plus it's fun, and I guess when I say racquetball, I hit the ball and try not to let it hit me in the face is what I do. I don't really play with rules, but it's a way that I feel like I can get moving and motivated. It helps wake up my brain a little bit. I fractured my ankle in 2020, and I did quite a bit of damage there. Where would I place this band to help build the strength back up in my ankle?
Upper leg on your upper thigh, same place for everybody.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you right here how easy it is to do. So we just take the leg beater and we put it on the thigh right here. Put the Velcro through, snug it down, hook up the pump, couple squeezes. There I go. I'm ready to go.
Wow.
Ready to go. I can walk, I can jog, I can do squats. Easiest thing to do, people who have physical challenges, look at this. I'm just going to get in this squat. I'll balance myself. In 30 seconds, I'm going to turn on the burn in my legs just sitting in a skier position. Or I can do what Homer was doing. I can have somebody help me sit down and stand up. That's it. You get that burn going, here comes the strength. And then from there, you can start adding more. But Les will tell you, 4 minutes. That's all you need. He does lunges, squats. You can do this on a rebounder. A vibration plate is awesome. A lot of people have vibration plates. You can get in the water with them. RBMs are the only ones that are waterproof. USA Olympic swim team use them. You can go out on the racquetball court, and do some movements and some light squats and lunges, do a wall sit, and enjoy it while you're playing racquetball.
What about it also helps the effectiveness of, let's say, a treadmill or a stationary bike, any of those, yes?
Well, what we just learned, doesn't matter what the movement or exercise or tool is, if you don't feel the burn, nothing's going to change. So absolutely. It's very difficult to get on an exercise bike or a treadmill unless you are one of those models on TV, and then you can climb the hills, right? The Peloton hills, right? You never see a 55-year-old guy like 59-year-old guy with 3 joint replacements on the Nordic Track commercial, do you? Right? It's always the chiseled people that are dripping in sweat. They can go get the burn. I can't. Now, I look like I can, but I got 3 joints replaced. If I go run sprints, do heavy weights, I'm heading for big problems. I'm going to hurt, or I won't be able to walk. Might tear up one of my implants. So, what's great for me, like many people who are injured, I feel like I'm in my 30s. I can function. I'm not going to run the marathon, but I can go do anything I want to do. I can travel, hike, feel young, feel great, have energy, but I can do the exercise that I need to do with the bands.
So if you put the bands on, say, and get on a treadmill and just bump up the elevation, go for 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to get burned.
You'll be done. You'll be done 3 minutes, Zach.
Wow, that's amazing. So people who have, like I was talking to my mom with her bone degeneration, helping to strengthen those muscles around is going to slow down that bone degeneration, will it not?
Yes.
Well, let's go one step further, Zach. Bones don't stay right here. They either get weaker or they get stronger. So once we get into our 40s and 50s, right? So what's required to strengthen bones? Bones do not, people think I have to mechanically load the bone. No. See, that's another myth. You have to use load to create the hormonal response. Let me tell you where this comes from. I create the burn in my muscles. I can do it with light exercise, BFR, I can do it with heavy weights. Now I get a post-exercise release of growth hormone. That goes down into the liver and stimulates bone-specific alkaline phosphatase, which turns on bone density. The body basically says, hey, Zach, I know what you're doing. You're working those fast twitch muscle fibers. You're doing vigorous exercise. I'm going to make you better. That's what the body does. I'm going to adapt you so you can do it better next time. So I'm going to strengthen your bones. I'm going to give you some growth hormone. I'm going to make your muscles and ligaments and tendons more pliable, right? If you don't, the body goes, you're not doing nothing, and it basically just rots. So the body is an adaptive machine. We've got to stimulate it. The myth that we need to break out there is that, number one, I can just go do a walk or 30, 40 minutes exercise. Time means nothing. It's irrelevant. Les just told you, 4 minutes, he's put an inch on his arms, right? So time's not the factor. The factor is go get the burn. That's what we got to teach people. We got to teach these veterans. We got to find a way for you to engage in fatiguing exercise that you can tolerate. And BFR is perfect. And when you get to try it, Zach, it's going to blow your mind. And Lam and Les will tell you, we'll have Les come back on here. Once you use the bands, Les, tell them. I mean, you don't go back to the old way, do you?
In fact, one of the things that really surprised me is I do a gym called Vertical, Gym Vertical. Only takes 25 minutes. Usually by the end of it, I'm very much breathing hard. Since I've done the bands, I can't believe how easy it is. And there's another exercise where I take and lay down with all of these bands, which is equal to a couple 100 pounds. I mean, I've got to increase it about 25% because it's so easy now. And that's one of the things that Dr. Ford has mentioned is a lot of the athletes, when they start, they're skeptical. And so he has them do the bands one day and the regular procedure the second, and then bands. As he said, give me 30 days. Well, usually after about 2 weeks, they find out they're blowing through their regular routine, and they actually increase the bands day and reduce the routine day because the power and the growth was coming from the band. So it's just unbelievable. And my wife has noticed that her muscles are much more operational. I mean, she said it's like they're thicker. And one of the things I told my doctor today is one of the things I've noticed is I'm standing up straighter without trying. And because the muscles are becoming much more stronger in my back. And I'm not exercising my back. I'm just doing the lunges. And lunges, 4 minutes. And then the curls, 3 sets of 30. And then I leave the burn on for 4 minutes. And then I take everything on.
See, and that's the whole point. So like even with running, I'll train half the time with the bands on. And then when I go out, my performance is so much better. But because I'm not pounding my body, I'm not getting injured. I have no pain. And that at 63, I'm like, it's the first time I've been able to do this in like 6 years. It's mind blowing.
That is amazing. You've used the word, and the only reason I'm asking this question is because I know that there's a lot of people who hear the word growth hormone. These are natural growth hormones. These are not anything that's outside your body that you're putting inside your body. This is all naturally produced growth hormone, correct?
Right, and I get this question all the time. Oh, I've got cancer. Oh, I've got this. There is not one study anywhere in any published medicine or journal that natural growth hormone from exercise has a negative effect on the body, unless you have hyperpituitarism. That's different, way too much, and everybody knows who that. But that's 1% population. So I can't exercise. I've got cancer. Let me tell you the actual facts now. 72% reduction in the common forms of cancer in people who vigorous exercise. I've got the study. I'd be glad to send it to you. So you have a 72% less chance of getting the most common if you're doing vigorous, not going for a walk. That's not going to move the needle. If you're doing vigorous exercise. Outcomes, new study on people going through chemotherapy that are able to do short bouts of vigorous exercise. Significant improvements in outcome. It's the opposite of this myth out there. Ooh, growth hormone bad. No, growth hormone is the most powerful substance in the world. Lana, I know you were going to show something there.
There's this doctor, Catherine Schmitz. She's been studying cancer for 20 years and high intensity exercise. She's written a whole book through all the different stages of treatment. And there are different ways for different types of cancers and different surgeries. There are different modalities that you can and can't use. However, high intensity exercise, however you choose to do it, is absolutely safe and encouraged.
Yeah. Are there any drawbacks from using these bands? Have you had anybody who has struggled with the bands at all?
Well, occasionally somebody overdoes it, right? And they're sore, or they're tired, or they get a bruise. I mean, I've got 32,000 people. Nobody's ended up in the hospital. Nobody's, but think about this. If you're not used to exercising and you go to the gym and you overdo it, it's going to be a rough day tomorrow.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Occasionally, but that's rare. Here's a big one. It's rare that you ever get sore doing this. You might get sore the first time or the second time, but Les is building muscle in 4 weeks like he's powerlifting. Les, how many times have you been sore?
First couple days.
First couple days.
Yeah.
In contrary to, if he goes and lifts heavy weights today to micro tear muscle, he's going to be sore. It used to be, if I'm not sore, no pain, no gain. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's out the window. It's no pain, all gain now. It shouldn't be any pain. There shouldn't be any, except for your first time or two. I can go and do the craziest, hardest BFR workout. Now, I don't go till I pass out, but I mean, I go pretty far, and I mean, I don't even feel it the next day. Here's a big one, Zach. We're not micro tearing muscle. See, people think you got to tear it. No, sorry. That's just a side effect of using mechanical overload to create lactic acid. That's all it is. So one method, mechanically overload the muscle, micro tear it, create lactic acid, build muscle. Another method, use BFR half the weight, don't micro tear anything, create the burn, build the muscle. You actually build it faster.
Okay. I got some beautiful friends who are expecting children. This is a wonderful, wonderful way for women who are going through pregnancy to work their bodies without.
Well, they want to talk to their doctor.
Yeah.
Right. We always tell, look, if you're going through pregnancy, go talk to your doctor. Okay. And we provide all kinds of studies to share with the doctors. But if the doctor says, I don't want you doing high intensity, vigorous exercise, you shouldn't do BFR. But they don't say that very often, right? Especially with women who have already been doing vigorous exercise. Now, if a lady gets pregnant, she's 3 months, first try, second try, we're not going to take her in the gym and put her in a 45-minute CrossFit, are we? Right?
No.
Right?
No.
So we're not going to put the bands on and go get a crazy burn on her. We're going to let her get through her pregnancy, all right? When she's ready to come back, I can tell you the women postpartum do this.
My daughter, postpartum, she's an aerialist. It took her like literally 2 to 3 weeks. And she was blown away. She was so skeptical. But right after the baby, she was nursing, and she bounced back super fast.
Well, Lana, you kind of opened up where I wanted to go with this next. And one of the things that we really focus on is the mental health aspect. You look good, you feel good. You got better mental health, right?
Way better. And I do have clients who literally couldn't get out of bed, hated exercise 5 minutes a day, and I have got them so cool. They feel like a different person. It's like, and they're using their antidepressants and anxiety meds because they're able to get that the health in their brain and the blood flow, and just a whole different outlook on life. And socially also, it's helped them tremendously. You know, it's just been such an honor for me to see such a change. So many people who hated exercise are now using it instead of taking their drugs. It's wonderful.
And Dr. Mike, how long has this been around again?
Well, it was discovered by accident in Japan in the 60s.
It
took Dr. Sato about 40 years to perfect it. So it really became popular in about 2005 to 10 in Japan. We found it in 2013 in the World Championship Games, and the Japanese athletes brought it over here with a group. I'm going to give all that credit to Dr. Jim Stray-Gunderson, our science advisor. He's one of the pioneers. You know, I joined him about a year after it was brought here. And then it took some years. We first thought Olympic athletes. Dr. Jim pioneered Olympic athletes, and he started working on recreational athletes. Then I came on board and realized, hey, this is everybody. right? We launched B3 Sciences in October of 2019. And I didn't have the Los Angeles Lakers, the Kansas City Chiefs, Mark Wahlberg, I didn't have all this, right? I didn't have hundreds of doctors. Didn't have awesome people like Les Atlanta. So this was a big push up the hill to get people to, even try it. Now, we're 3.5 years later, we got over 30,000 people, and this thing's on a rocket ship. It's going to go it's going to go all across the country. I mean, you walk in a PT center, 20% of the therapy centers have now. Every NFL training room is doing this. I mean, that'll tell you what you need to know right now. Every NFL training room is doing this on their athletes, and it started in rehab. Now what they're seeing is they're taking it out. They slowly started taking it out to the weightlifting, right? Because you're changing paradigms. But the older guys are all saying, I don't want to lift heavy weights. Give me the bands. So now all of a sudden you're seeing this big wave of older NFL guys in the league that have switched over to BFR. Tell you who's coming next, the younger guys, right? But if the big population, Zach, is the people out there, the 258 million adults that need, exercise. 75% don't have an exercise program. 2 out of 3 are overweight. 35% are in pain. I mean, we got a lot of people.
Okay, yeah, well, as we have discussed, I do have quite a bit of experience with physical therapy. It's basically become part of my life for the last 9 years since the motorcycle accident. Not always a lot of fun, so any substitute to that, I'm all in on this. Lana, you really wanted to delve into some of the mental aspects about this.
Well, I did a little bit of research on top of my experience, and I've read physical exercise, high intensity physical, and increase the levels of BDNF, which is your brain, neurotropic factors. Non-pharmaceutical remedies to help with all these different brain functions and free of side effects, because so many of the pharmaceutical products come with side effects. Most of them do, and especially anti-anxiety meds, antidepressant meds. It's so I did quite a bit of and there was nothing mind-blowing other than time after time after time again. Each study shows from way back 2005 to now, how high intensity exercise, that's the big piece missing. And the common thread right now that's happening in the medical industry, it's not about treating sick patients anymore. It's about preventing. And the key is about lifestyle. It's exercise, it's nutrition, and it's mental health and civilization. And if you can put those things into your life, these things can be prevented naturally. So, that's kind of the philosophy and work with my clients, and how I live my life, and has enabled me to work with my daughter's cancer in the best way possible. I can't tell her what to do, but I can guide her, and I see the changes.
One of the things that I've always felt is one of the reasons why I love racquetball is that if I'm feeling tense on a day, we've all heard about going out and smashing whitey when you're going out all over the place. It's a good way to get frustrations out.
It's not even just that. There's much more being done there. It's the being that is being activated.
So,
but even ping pong.
Tony, I've got
We're using ping pong as
have you
prevention
seen
for
our
diseases
guest
like
agreement for our
Alzheimer's.
Wednesday radio
So it's
show?
the interaction with other people. It's the
Doesn't
concentration
ring a bell.
of the ball. It's
Okay,
it's not
so,
just getting your frustrations out. That's part of it.
Next time we cover
But
that,
it goes much. Our bodies can do so much
just one of
more.
our formalities with this FC